Alright guys, how you going? I'm IXL Runamuck. I am a Terran player, both Masters on NA and the Korean server, and I'm here to bring you guys some psychology versions of my gameplay. Kind of gonna be my way, I suppose, of giving back to the community. Ways I think that I might be able to help some people, maybe even shed some light on some builds. The idea of what I want to start trying to do is, I'm going to run through 2 or 3 builds per matchup and try and get as much content and diversity around those builds as I can possible. In doing this, I'm going to hopefully show some wins, some losses, some nice distribution between both, and see whether or not my mindset or my game knowledge and those kind of things intertwine to help you kind of understand the game, understand where you're at, and overall help you play. So we're going to jump into some games I had with my mate Matthew, aka IXL's Grims. Usually does a lot of casts with me, but today I'm going to do some of my solo stuff. So we're going to jump into this game. And yeah, alright, let's kick it off. I'll go to my vision. Obviously this is going to be probably the most critical point. And this music's on. Alright, this is obviously on -4, but in this game, it was basically, the mindset I had was, I'm going to do a 15 gas, I'm going to go straight into Widow Mines and Marines and do a drop. And then after that, my main goal was to follow up with additional racks, whether it be 2, like going up to a total of 3 racks, going, for that standard bio Medivac style, and then potentially even adding on even more racks than that, going up to 5 racks off of 2 base, and then getting a delayed third, maybe focusing on things like upgrades, and kind of trying to overwhelm my opponent after doing early damage. But we'll see how this game goes. I've got a few more of these games, hopefully I can get through them today and upload them so you guys can see a variety of builds.
SCVs are under attack.
The build you can find is on imberbuilds or gosubuilds.com, so it is pretty straightforward. I'll have that link obviously in the description below. So they're just all openers, and I'm going to try and run through things you need to scout for and look for with these openers. Oh man, I need some water. There we go. A good thing to learn to do is rallying your 14th building SCV that's going to come out of your command center to the refinery you want. It just saves a little bit of time. It looks cool, you look very professional when you do it. Obviously this probe harass has been a little bit annoying, and I had to deal with it, but it's dealt with. We're getting my gas now, start mining that. Prepared now for my CC. Turn that into an orbital command, get my first marine. With this build, you don't necessarily need to scout with an SCV. You can, it is optional. Most times with this build I will scout after the second depot is completed, but in this game I opt not to do it. The build I'm going to be doing puts on a lot of pressure a lot earlier than you would normally, so that in itself is going to reveal to me what his plans are. So unless he was doing something ridiculously cheesy, like going for proxy oracles or something like that, then we're not really going to be at a big issue. That's about the only build that I feel could be real detrimental to opening up like this. Either that or a 4-gate, but 4-gates seem to have phased out a bit more. It's more oracle harass and things like that. Alright, I do follow this up now with my expansion. Continue to build SCVs, of course. Kind of checking there just in case. Well, actually, no, they're just camera hotkey setups. That's pretty sweet. Going around with the macro, start getting my factory now. When you get your factory, you want to start adding on your second refinery and a supply depot. I find it's easier to kind of do both at the same time. SCV is getting here now, scouting. I see 1 gas. Definitely see a second gas if I'm looking at the mini-map. And overall, this build to me that's coming out of the protoss looks like he went for a faster expand. This could have been off of a 1-gate or a nexus first. It looks like it was a gateway, then nexus. Basically, he would have opened up with a 9 pylon, 13 gateway. He sent his probe at either after 9 or after the building of the gateway.
Additional supply.
And he got here, he scouted what he needed to do, he knew I was going for an expansion build, and he's tried to cut a little bit of corners. Alright, we start building our window mines, getting our starport. Now, the only reason why these things aren't lining up as properly as they should was, one, I'm playing around way too much with my multitasking. Two, the early probe harass has kind of pushed things back a little bit, so they're not lining up as 100% precise as they could. And three, this is probably about the 15th game I had in a row, so my wrist was kind of cramping up as well. Alright, Stalker coming down here. Now, a lot of the times I'll try and build my bunker a little bit forward than that, or try and tuck it a supply depot in, but I found that Stalkers can kind of just annoy that as much as possible. And so I decided this time I'm going to build my supply depot underneath of my bunker until I deal with that kind of early stalker pressure. Just to save me from having to go over there and repair, or potentially leaving it to burn down and supply block me, things like that. Alright, so ideally you can fit 4 marines and 2 widow mines. As I can see here, I'm trying to line them up within the rally point of my dropship, so when it comes out I can just load up, boost, get to his base, ASAP, do all that fun little transition stuff. And off she goes. Continue to do my macro, which is fine. Obviously these games aren't going to be perfect. It's pretty much the basis for this build. Like, I'm not Flash. I'm basically doing what you guys are doing. I add on 2 additional racks. 2 additional racks and 2 tech labs. My reasoning being for this is because my stim and combat shields are delayed. I want to try and keep that back up. And, well, Marauder's a really good versus protoss. Drop a mine here because I want to try and intercept any runaways. And dropping a second mine now in his base. I can see he's got an observer, which kind of really hurts. He obviously went for a 1 gateway robo and then added on 2 additional gateways. You can tell this because his gateway unit count is at an all-time low. He only had like a stalker and a sentry in the mothership core in his main. This dropship obviously just gets outright denied. He plays this really well. This is really safe play from Protoss. And follow-ups to this can either be a quick change into Templar or a quick change into Colossus. Things like this you need to really figure out. Obviously he's on 4 gas, which like allows him to go to either one of tech trees. He could do both, but if he's doing both, he's not going to have upgrades. And if it does both and try and go for upgrades, give me a maximum of 1 forge. And he's really going to cut into his gateway count. I do decide to go for the 5 racks off of 2 base style. I'm going to be ultra aggressive. Given the fact that I got fast early gas, I don't need to get gases 3 and 4 just yet. I think I start getting them once I start to produce Medivacs, because they kind of take up a fair amount of gas themselves. Here we go. Getting my upgrades. I add an additional tech lab and reactor, so there can be 2 mixes with the 5 racks. You can go for the 2 tech labs, 3 reactors, or you can go for the 3 tech labs, 2 reactors. I prefer Marauders in these early stages of the game, especially if they're going for what I feel is Colossus builds. And if he goes for Templar, you can do a really quick switch to Ghosts, and it allows you to pump out more Ghosts. Like, Marines, they'll only become more valuable later game if he's dedicating his army value to Templar, Archon, Zealot, and when you get those blanket EMPs, then it's really good. But yeah, not in this game. Bob coming into my base, it's not really my warriors, my army's already moving out across the map. Likely he's already seen it, so in thinking this, you've got to be prepared for Protoss interceptions. What they'll do sometimes, like better Protoss, is they'll move out across the map, intercept your army in a certain position which favours their battle, especially if they have things like Colossus. I'm getting a delayed 3rd now because I powered up on the 2 racks, and because of my opening build wasn't straight into racks play, I had to kind of catch up. So I scan, and I see absolutely no AoE damage at all. Like, I'm loving life right now, obviously. I see the Templar archive, so this tells me he's trying to go to Templar. He opened up Robo and wanted to go to Colossus, which we've seen in Robotics Bay earlier. He's doing a hard switch to Templar. He won't have Storm yet. Storm should finish up at around 13 minutes. Other than that, his macros probably slipped up somewhere along the line. But anyway, I'm pushing in here. This is basically just about kiting. You don't want to overcommit and get stuck between force fields, and if you do, you want to try and lift up units into the Medivacs. Did a little bit of splitting here, but realised there was nothing there, and this is basically just a perfect battle. I've got +1 upgrades, he has no AoE. He's trying to battle me with Zealot Sentry, and he's not doing a good enough job. He's even coming out of range from the photon cannon from the Nexus. So I've got free reign to kind of kite, shoot, do whatever I want. Pulling back some units and trying to... When I engage, if you got a ball of units and you run them in, you kind of want to get the ones that are in front and peel them aside, so you're creating a concave at all times. That's just a small little trick that I've learned to pick up. Anyways, he calls GG, or leaves the game, mainly because he's got no AA, he can't fend off this army. I've got +1, my +1 armor was on the way. Obviously I was getting my third, that was just about to finish up, and his storm is now finished. And it's 13-12. Anyways, that concludes the first series. I'm gonna create more games. We did play 15 games on this map, so it's gonna make it relatively easy to make this small set. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I will add up, obviously, the build order. If you guys would like to follow me, that would be sick. I do want to bring some more community videos. I do coaching and things like that. And yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and hope you have a good time.